So, turns out the London housing market isn't just cooling off, it's collapsing from the inside. And now, thanks to a leaked private City Hall meeting, we finally know why. Forget the headlines blaming interest rates and temporary demand dips. That's just the surface. What's actually happening is deeper, messier, and way more systemic. We're talking a full-blown market unraveling, fueled by population decline, financial pressure, vanishing foreign buyers, and government policies that are choking the life out of confidence in the system. This isn't just a correction.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Game that's about who's leaving. High-income earners, remote workers, young professionals, families. They're done with the sky-high prices, the brutal taxes, and the crumbling incentives to stay. They're heading to the outer boroughs, or out of the capital altogether. That population loss means fewer people buying homes, and fewer buyers means plummeting demand. Combine that with a market built on the assumption that growth would never stop, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Now let's talk about who isn't coming back. Foreign investors. London's prime real estate once had a red carpet rolled out for international buyers. That's gone. Chinese capital, dried up. Middle Eastern investment, pulled back. European interest, fading fast. And it's not hard to see why. Skyrocketing taxes, regulatory headaches, and geopolitical instability have made investing in London more trouble than it's worth. When those top-tier investors bailed, the luxury market lost its backbone. And once that top layer starts to crack, it triggers a ripple effect dragging down prices and confidence all the way through the rest of the market. It's not just the £10 million penthouses sitting empty. It's the average flats and starter homes now seeing fewer bids, more price drops, and growing uncertainty. Then comes 2025, the year of the mortgage reset tsunami. Back in 2019 and 2020, homeowners locked in dirt-cheap fixed mortgage rates, some as low as 1.7%. But guess what happens when those rates expire? They jump hard. In 2025, thousands of Londoners are watching their mortgage rates spike up to around 5.8%. That's not a small bump. That's hundreds, sometimes thousands more per month in payments. For many middle-class families already stretched by inflation and stagnant wages, that's a breaking point. Their only option: sell. And when too many people are trying to sell in a market that's already hemorrhaging demand, you get a flood of listings. Prices fall even more. Buyers hold back. And just like that, you've got a housing freeze. So where's the government in all of this? Adding gasoline to the fire. Instead of relief, they're raising taxes, especially on high-value properties. There's talk of doubling council tax on expensive homes. Then there's changes to stamp duty, inheritance taxes, and even new energy efficiency mandates that make owning a home feel more like a financial trap than a long-term investment. Every new regulation or fee just pushes more owners to exit and keeps would-be buyers on the sidelines. Nobody wants to buy into a market that looks rigged against them. And those who already bought in, they're drowning in costs. And here's where it gets even bleaker. Buyers have had enough. We're in a full-on buyer's strike. People are sitting on the sidelines, waiting for prices to drop, waiting for interest rates to fall, waiting for the policies to change. And while they wait, inventory piles up. Construction slows to a crawl. Developers hit pause or cancel projects outright. In 2025, London is expected to deliver fewer than 20,000 new homes, half of what it used to build. That's not a slowdown. That's a construction collapse. Smaller and mid-sized developers are dropping like flies. Bankruptcies, layoffs, unfinished projects. The supply chain is unraveling. And the big players, they're biding their time. Institutional investors, hedge funds, private equity, they're circling, ready to scoop up the wreckage. Entire blocks of distressed homes could be bought in bulk, not by families, but by corporations looking to cash in on long-term rentals. That means fewer homes available for purchase, more properties turned into rentals, less ownership, less upward mobility, and more control shifting to landlords with billion-pound balance sheets. It's not just residential either. The commercial property sector is cracking too. Office vacancies are at record highs, and all those dreams of converting empty buildings into trendy flats, they're hitting a wall of costs and red tape. The result? A ghost town effect in some parts of central London. Empty towers, unfinished sites, stalled developments. So now, the entire ecosystem, residential, commercial, investment, construction, it's all under stress. The trust that once propped up the market is breaking down. Developers don't trust buyers. Buyers don't trust the government. Owners don't trust the value of their own property. Everyone's waiting for someone else to make the first move, and in the meantime, nothing's moving. And that's the real threat. Not a big dramatic crash, but a slow, painful freeze. A frozen market is harder to fix than a crash, because a crash at least resets the system. A freeze just grinds everything down: confidence, development, investment, until there's nothing left but institutional landlords and a generation priced out of ownership forever.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
The policies are contradictory, the outcomes are unsustainable, and underneath it all, the foundation of trust in the system, trust in the market, trust in homeownership is quietly crumbling. By 2026, the pressure could break wide open. We're already seeing signs: distressed homeowners offloading properties, developers abandoning projects, corporate landlords snapping up assets. This isn't just a bad year, it's a shift in the DNA of London's housing market. The scary part: this may be the new normal. A market not built for people, but for portfolios. A city not designed for growth, but for consolidation. There's no clear fix, no silver bullet, because the root problem isn't one thing, it's everything. Demographic reversal, vanishing foreign interest, mortgage stress, bad policy, lost trust. It's all converging into one slow-moving collapse that looks less like a crisis and more like a quiet surrender. So where does that leave London? Probably in for a long, awkward reset. One where ownership drops, prices wobble, and construction stays muted. And eventually, maybe, confidence starts to rebuild, but likely in a very different market than the one we've known. The real question isn't if the market recovers. It's who gets to benefit when it does. Will it be ordinary people finally getting a fair shot? Or just another round of institutional bailouts locking up the city's housing stock for good? We'll be watching. If you're still with us, let us know what you think. Is London's housing market heading for a reset or a complete reinvention? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns of housing chaos, economic faceplants, and political flops, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This story's not over, and we're just getting started. Let's keep going, because what's happening in London's housing market isn't just a blip or a downturn. It's a tectonic shift. And the next chapter, it's already being written behind closed doors. Here's what people don't want to admit: the collapse isn't loud. There's no fireworks, no spectacular crash you can point to on a chart. This is slow erosion, a quiet unraveling, a drip 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 of confidence leaking out of the system until suddenly, you realize the bathtub's empty and no one even noticed it draining. That's what makes this so dangerous, because people still want to believe it's temporary. They're holding out for the rebound, the return to normal. But what if this is the normal now? You've got developers who once couldn't build fast enough now abandoning sites mid-project. Why? Because the math doesn't work anymore. Financing is too expensive, buyers aren't showing up, and no one wants to gamble millions on units that might sit unsold or worse, fall into the hands of fire sale buyers looking to pay pennies on the pound. And speaking of fire sales, we're already seeing the early signs of them. Homeowners with expiring fixed-rate mortgages are quietly panicking. Their monthly payments are jumping by hundreds of pounds, sometimes more. For families who stretched to buy in 2019 or 2020, that's a crisis. Now they're stuck. Sell in a falling market and lose money, or try to hang on and bleed cash each month. And that trickle of distressed sales, it's building. It doesn't take many forced listings to shift the market. A few desperate sellers set the comps lower, buyers smell blood in the water, and before you know it, you're looking at a full-blown value spiral. Sellers are slashing prices to compete, but buyers still aren't biting, because who wants to buy an asset everyone expects to be cheaper next month? That's what a beer's strike really looks like. It's not people being picky. It's people not showing up at all. And the worst part, the government's making it worse. Instead of incentives to boost buying or stabilize the middle, what we've got are tax hikes, stricter regulations, and new compliance headaches that hit owners the hardest. Whether it's the energy performance mandates that require costly retrofits, or inheritance tax changes that punish generational wealth transfers, it's like they're daring people to abandon homeownership. And guess who's benefiting from that? Not first-time buyers, not growing families, institutions, the big guys, private equity firms, real estate investment trusts, pension funds, people who have the capital, patience, and political insulation to scoop up property while everyone else is too scared or too broke to act. They're waiting in the wings, ready to convert those distressed sales into long-term rental assets. And in a frozen market where traditional buyers are sidelined, they're the only ones with the firepower to move. What we're seeing is a shift in power, from individual ownership to corporate consolidation, from homes being lived in to homes being leveraged. And the public, they're not just being priced out, they're being pushed out of the system entirely. There's a reason conversions to rentals are surging. Developers can't sell the units, so they lease them out. Institutional investors don't want to flip, they want to hold. And tenants, stuck between rising rents and unreachable prices, have no exit. It's a trap, dressed up as market efficiency. But it's not efficient. It's corrosive. The dream of owning a home in London is becoming more and more of a mirage. What used to be a ladder is now a wall. And the longer this goes on, the more permanent that shift becomes. Then there's the psychological damage. Because real estate isn't just financial, it's emotional. It's cultural. Owning a home in London used to mean stability, status, security. Now, it means risk, cost, and a looming sense of maybe I made a mistake. And that hits confidence in the entire market. Developers don't want to build into a vacuum. Homeowners don't want to sell at a loss. Buyers don't want to catch a falling knife. And investors, they're picking over the remains, buying only when they can squeeze out guaranteed returns. This isn't a market correction, it's a trust crisis. The leaked City Hall documents confirm what's really going on. The internal consensus isn't how do we fix this, it's how bad will it get before we stop pretending it's fine. Officials know the collapse isn't just economic, it's structural. There's no single policy lever that can reverse it. And worse, most of the tools they do have, tax hikes, regulatory pressure, are making things worse. So what's next? In the short term, we are looking at stagnation, more unsold homes, more half-finished construction sites, more small developers going bust, more headlines about record vacancies and falling valuations. And beneath all of that, a slow reshuffling of the deck where homeowners sell under pressure and corporations quietly collect. By 2026, London's housing market may look unrecognizable, not because of a dramatic collapse, but because of a slow, grinding consolidation of ownership. A new class of landlords emerging, not with a handful of properties, but with portfolios the size of boroughs. The irony? This was all avoidable. The warning signs were there. Population outflows, collapsing foreign demand, the ticking time bomb of mortgage resets. But instead of tackling those issues, we got policy tweaks, tax hikes, and vague reassurances that everything was under control. It wasn't. And now we're here, staring down a future where owning in London is no longer aspirational, it's irrational. This isn't just a financial story. It's a cultural reset, a generational wound. The consequences won't just hit balance sheets, they'll reshape who lives in the city, who can live in the city, and what London even represents in the global market. Because when a city becomes unlivable for its own middle class, when the only buyers left are institutions, and when trust in ownership is shattered, you don't just have a housing problem. You have a crisis of identity. And maybe that's the real headline. Not that the market is collapsing, but that the entire model is. That the age of endless price growth, of foreign capital safety nets, of middle-class security through property, that age is ending. What replaces it? That's still unclear. But one thing's for sure, what's happening now isn't temporary. It's not a phase. It's a restructuring. And London may never go back to the way things were. Here's the wildest part in all of this: no one in power seems willing to admit just how far gone things really are. The public-facing narrative still clings to tired excuses. Oh, it's just a cycle, or, once interest rates drop, everything will bounce back. But behind closed doors, those leaked City Hall discussions tell a very different story. They know the engine isn't sputtering, it's seizing up entirely. The levers they used to rely on, stimulus, rate cuts, beer incentives, don't carry the same weight anymore. Because the rot isn't just about numbers. It's about belief. Belief that property is a safe investment. Belief that buying a home is worth it. Belief that London, for all its cost and chaos, still offers something real to people who commit to staying here. That belief is gone. Once trust evaporates, all the spreadsheets in the world won't bring people back into the market. And if you're hoping for some kind of rebound once rates ease up, here's the cold reality: that won't undo the exodus. People who've left the city aren't just waiting around for a better deal. They've moved on. Families who relocated to other parts of the UK aren't about to rush back to a market where rent is absurd, mortgages are landmines, And owning a property comes with a full-time job's worth of legal and financial hurdles. The longer this drags on, the harder it will be to pull the market out of its freeze. Because people adapt. They build new lives elsewhere. They find value in affordability, instability, and not being crushed by the cost of simply existing in the capital. That's the part no one at the top wants to confront. The idea that London might actually become less relevant. That the gravitational pull of the city is weakening. And if that happens, if the talent, money, and ambition that once flooded into London keeps choosing to stay away, then the housing market's troubles become a symptom of something even deeper. Let's not forget what made London's market what it was: confidence, cash, and constant demand. But now, confidence is shaken, cash has fled, and demand has not just dropped, it's restructured. It's no longer about luxury units in central postcodes. It's about affordability, flexibility, and sanity. And while all of this unfolds, those who still hold on to property are stuck in limbo. Owners can't sell without taking a loss. They can't refinance without seeing their costs double. And they can't count on rents covering rising expenses as more and more people exit the rental market too, either out of necessity or sheer exhaustion. Meanwhile, developers are slashing their own expectations. Projects once hyped as luxury towers are quietly being rebranded, paused, or pivoted to long-term rentals. Because even the builders know the beer pool just isn't there anymore. The math doesn't work, the timing is off, and the risk is now too high. What's left is a hollowed-out market. Inventory rising, listings sitting, construction frozen, buyers gone cold, and looming over all of it, a wave of institutional landlords ready to seize what's left. This is what a silent takeover looks like. Not a dramatic crash, not a media frenzy, but a gradual, calculated consolidation of power. Home by home, block by block, all while most people are too overwhelmed, too priced out, or too disillusioned to stop it. So when we ask what the future of London's housing market looks like, maybe we already have the answer. It's not a recovery, it's a reset. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially part of the small percentage of people who don't just click away, and that means a lot. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts, your ideas, or even what you'd like to see next. I read every single one of them, and your feedback genuinely shapes the direction of this channel. If you enjoyed the video, tap that like button. It tells YouTube this content is worth sharing. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more exciting videos coming, and trust me, you'll want to be here for them. This channel is just getting started, and your support helps it grow faster than you realize. Thank you again for spending a part of your day here with me. Stay curious, stay motivated, and as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.